Hey everybody, Pastor Josh here. Time for the weekly update for April 27th, 2020. First of all, I just want to thank all of you that have been supporting us financially. We're doing really well. It seems like each month has been better than the previous month, and so I just want to say a thank you, and I'm grateful for all of you that are supporting us financially, and those of you, especially if you're giving in a recurring way online, that is so helpful. Because it is a good, consistent, we know exactly when that's coming in and how to budget our finances. So if you do give regularly to a church or our church, checks are great, but it's really nice when there's that recurring setup. Your accounting can then kind of predict, and you can manage your cash flow better when you know that that's going to be there on a certain day. So just something to consider, but thank you for all the ways that you're supporting us. I want to let you know that we actually have our podcast is up and live. So on Apple or Google Play or wherever you get your podcasts, just search for Redeeming Grace Church and look for our logo. There's several Redeeming Grace churches out there. So make sure you're looking for the one that matches our logo. And for the most part, it's sermons that are up. But I am hopeful to be able to be recording some other content as well. Stuff like maybe some devotional thoughts on a regular basis, as well as some interviews maybe, where me and somebody else discuss things, interesting topics, or share testimonies or whatever. So that's still in process, but it's up, and I think there's 16 episodes or whatever, most of them sermons. And so please subscribe to those and listen to those. Hope that they bless you. We put a lot of time and work into our messages, and it's cool that they're there in an easy format. And as you're doing whatever you're doing, I pray that you'll take advantage of that. Also, last Friday, Radical and David Platt did their Secret Church event, and they had all kinds of technical issues. It sounds like maybe their site was actually attacked, which allowed, I guess kept a bunch of people from being able to log in and do it. But it's recorded and it's live, and you can watch it right now. And through June, I think through the end of June actually, it's available. So if you registered and you weren't able to log in and do it live, I would highly recommend you at some point going through it either in one big shot or in bits and pieces. And yeah, it's got a little booklet that goes like this. You can get a PDF version of this online. And if you didn't register, you can register to watch it. I don't know if it charges you anything or not, probably a little bit. But it is so worth it. The theme was God, government, and the gospel. And I was just like, man, I hope I could just think of so many people that needed to hear this, just based on their Facebook posts or based on how they handle politics or their particular candidate or issue. Man, this is just really, really well done by David Platt, and I think helps set the right framework and perspective for seeing and viewing world events and politics, and government. So would highly recommend it. And if I could, I would pay you to watch it, because it is just such a great equipping thing. And as a pastor, I'm always thinking about how to equip the saints for the work of ministry, and this one's huge. So it is long. I think it's like 6.5 hours it ended up being, but it's so good. So register for that. Go to secretchurch.org and you can log in there and participate, but just could not recommend it more highly. Also, since I'm on the promotion theme here, I want to just point out a few things to you. One is this Discover Bible Notes. It's a little devotional, and this is probably for like upper elementary into middle school, and it just walks through the Bible. It's got some cool activities in it and stuff. Just walks students through books of the Bible in a way that's understandable, engaging, and over the course of all the issues, I think there's like 18 of them or something like that. Over the course of a few years, if a student sticks with this, they'll go through the entire Bible and have an understanding of the entire Bible and the key themes and how to read and understand it. And then there's one that's just that's similar to that called Engage, which is probably more for middle school, high school age. And these are great. So I've ordered a ton of these. Our kids, Brie and I's kids, are are starting on these today, and they seem like they're interested and intrigued, and it's a little less intense and a little more practically driven than what we have them doing now. So if this is of interest to you, you'd like to have, I have the entire series. I have several copies of the entire series, which is like 18 volumes of each. And if you want to try one, if you want to take volume 1, let me know, and I'll send it to you. And man, I just want to equip the saints, and particularly students. And since you're at home, I'm thinking it might be an easy thing to just integrate into your daily routine, your Monday morning checklists, or whatever your kids have to do. So they may not be real excited at first, but if you can build that habit in, and these I think are the best out there. Most youth devotionals are garbage, don't buy them. But these are really good because they walk students through the Bible. Okay, so let me know if that is of interest to you. And then also, one thing that we do as a family every morning is this Old Story New. We've been doing this for years. We went through the Old Testament. This is the New Testament version, but there's an Old Testament one, which I have up there on the shelf, called Long Story Short. And then this one works, and it just walks. It's 10-minute devotions each day, super easy to lead, good questions to ask your kids. So really, really like this. So as you're at home and you're looking for ways to disciple your kids, this is a good devotional to do as a family. Those other two that I mentioned are good to do individually for your kids to develop spiritual disciplines. And this is the time to do it, I think, to establish those habits now. And both of those resources walk through the Bible, pointing to Jesus all the way through, which I love. I love that. So let me know if you have some interest in that, and I'll help you get a copy of that. It's great. Several years worth of devotions, super easy to do. 2 more books that I want to point out to you. This book right here, The Gospel, is a key book in shaping the life of Redeeming Grace Church. It's written by Ray Ortland, and it's called How the Church Portrays the Beauty of Christ. So this is a basic summary of the gospel, but in a very expansive way. So he kind of draws out that the gospel isn't just for the individual, which we usually know, but the gospel is also for the church, and the gospel is actually for the whole world. And then he talks about how we don't just apply the gospel and display the gospel and share the gospel as individual Christians, but as a church, we do that together as a community. We share the gospel with people. This book is amazing. If I were to get Christians to read one book that would kind of shape their understanding of church and the gospel and how that all integrates and works together, this would be the one. It looks like I have 20 copies of this. So I would much rather than be in your hands. If you'll promise to read it, I'll send it to you. So let me know if that's something. And then one last one. We're reading this book called Church in Hard Places together and having Zoom discussions on Sunday mornings. And it's been good. Bez McConnell is in one of the toughest places in the world, doing church planting in the schemes of Scotland. And then he just talks about how, we as Christians, actually you can kind of see this, churches tend to be kind of in the suburbs, and they tend to not be very strong in the middle of the city where the neediest parts are. So we as American churches, Western churches in particular, we tend to like to do ministry where it's safe and not where it's hard. And so this book just kind of walks through why the local church is the answer to the poor and needy, and then how to do it. So it's really good stuff. So that's what we're doing as a church. That's what's shaping us. A couple other things is that we have several people that are interested in membership, and I've just been really wrestling through how to do that. And so I'm thinking about maybe doing something that would allow like a Zoom conference call or something where we could record some of that content, maybe walk through some of that stuff. I don't want to wait forever for people to begin to be equipped along those lines. So watch for that. I'll give you an update later on what I decide, but right now I'm leaning towards maybe trying to do something online and not waiting too long for people to be able to take steps and learn more about our church. And then I just want to encourage you with one last thing. And it is this, I definitely sense from people that we're losing a little bit of enthusiasm. It just seems like people are getting weary of Zoom and live streams and online stuff. And that's, on one sense, that's good because we're not made to live on those things. And it's an encouragement to me that I think people are craving the physical bodily gathering together more than I think they probably realized before. So I'm hoping coming out of this we'll be healthier in the fact that we'll just have a high appreciation and a high commitment to gathering personally, and that we won't blow that off as much as we used to, but we'll really crave it, really support it, really be relentless in making sure that it is the priority in our week, in our time. But in this meantime, I think people are losing steam, and I just really would encourage you to stay engaged. Whatever is posted on Redeeming Grace Church's Facebook page or my Facebook page or on Instagram, would you please engage it? Would you please comment? When the sermon live streams are going, would you please comment? And do that, if you don't attend my church, do it at your church, because what happens is that the only way that people can see the enthusiasm of the church for the word, for what their church is doing, is online. And so maybe you're participating, but nobody can really see that. But if there's likes and shares and comments and amens, then other people know that, oh, this is a place to engage. Otherwise, it just looks like, hey, nobody's watching, and it doesn't seem like there's any energy in this church at all. So it's the only way at this point that people can get the sense that these people love the word, they love engaging with their church, they love being equipped, they love being taught, they love sharing together. So please respond to text messages. Please just like, share, comment on as many things as possible. Kind of force yourself to do that. Personally, I'm not one that does a lot of that, and so I understand why people don't do that. But I would just encourage you, kind of on the pastoral side, as I'm looking at the whole group, it really is helpful when people engage, because that creates kind of an excitement, and it's the only way people can see that there's actually something to this church that's more than just a guy on a screen. So let me just encourage you with that. And so subscribe, like, share, comment. Please be as engaged as possible, because other people are watching and are helped, are encouraged to know that there actually is somebody that's a part of this church. So I love you. Thank you for all that you do for the kingdom of Christ. Stay faithful, stay connected. Keep praying for those who are struggling and in difficult circumstances. Pray for your fellow church members, and I pray that you enjoy this week.